Hi, see you again. Okay, so if you go to our website over here, you can actually buy the past year exam papers from all these publisher like SAP, Singapore Asian Publisher, and then you can actually sign up for correspondent practice for past year papers. And regarding the previous lesson, I have not made one thing clear, but I have stated here. Sales ledger means the same as debtors ledger. Sales ledger and debtors ledger is the same. Okay, but sales ledger and sales account, they are totally different things. Okay, purchasers ledger means exactly the same as creditors ledger. Okay, purchasers ledger and creditors ledger means the same, but the purchasers ledger and purchasers account are totally different things. Okay, so now let's look at the past year exam question. Okay, so this question came out in A-level 2003 paper 1 question 7. It will also be beneficial for O-level students. You are encouraged, I mean you should buy the past year exam papers from the publisher like what I showed you just now. Okay, so now this question says the following information was taken from the books of In Control Limited for the month of October 2003. What is required? Prepare the sales and purchasers ledger control account for October 2003. Okay, so that means, in other words, prepare the debtors and creditors control account for October 2003, and then state 2 reasons for using control account. So this question carry 14 marks. So I'm going to do up the structure here. Okay, so this one is the purchasers ledger control account. So I will show you purchasers ledger control account. So those who are taking the correspondent courses, they can actually do up the sales ledger control account and send to me for marking. Okay, purchasers ledger control account means the same as creditor control accounts. Okay, in the balance sheet, creditors is a credit balance. Okay, so creditors is credit in nature. So what you should do, I know at this point of time when you look at the question, probably you will feel a bit headache. You don't even know how to start. Okay, how you should start is you be calm. Okay, draw up the T account structure and then label this exactly according to the question. Purchasers ledger control account for October 2003. That's what they said. So this side is debit, this side is credit. So now you think purchasers ledger control account means the same as creditor control account. Okay, so you should think of it as a creditor control account. Okay, creditor is a credit balance in the balance sheet. If it is a credit balance in the balance sheet, the balance brought down should be always on the correct side one. Okay, the balance brought down, because creditor is a credit nature, is a credit balance in the balance sheet. So the balance brought down is always on the correct side. It's always on the credit side because creditor is a credit balance. So I can put it in a way that the balance brought down is always same side with the balance sheet one. Okay, because creditor is a credit balance in the balance sheet, so the balance brought down is on the credit side. Okay, the balance brought down is on the correct side one. Okay, now you look at here, purchasers ledger balance on 1 October 2003. This one is 1009, and then this one is 21,300 credit balance. How come they are debit balance and credit balance? Okay, purchasers ledger balances. Okay, previously I've explained in the previous lesson. You should also have gone through the previous lesson. Okay, so I have explained that at the end of the year, or at the end of every month, the boss is likely, the boss would ask the person taking care of the debtors ledger and creditors ledger to list down all the debtors and creditor and put up the balance. Okay, so the boss will also give instruction. Okay, so these are our debtors, or another list will be a creditors. Okay, the debtors are supposed to be debit balance, so they will ask the person taking care of the debtors ledger, can you also give Okay, so this is a debit balance. Can you also give me the total of all those debtors that are credit balance one? You know why the debtors have credit balance or the creditors have debit balance? Because some of these debtors or customers, we have like they have like overpaid us, you know, or maybe because they have fully paid us, and then some after that they return some goods, so they will end up having a negative balance. That means the debtor will have a credit balance. That means um, in other words, they are become a creditor. Okay, so similarly, creditors in the creditors ledger, there will be some debit balance. That means these are the creditors. The boss will want to know, can you total up all the creditors that have debit balance? That means these are the creditors, the suppliers that we have overpaid them, or maybe we have fully paid them and we return some goods to them. So that means these are negative creditors. That means, in other words, they will become our debtors instead. That means instead of we owe them, they owe us, because we have overpaid them, so they owe us. So these are the creditors with debit balance at the beginning of the month, and these are the creditors with credit balance. That means these are the normal creditors. Okay, so the balance brought down should be the same side with the balance sheet one. So the balance brought down is on the credit, because this is a credit balance. The balance brought down is on the correct side one. Okay, so this is 1009 is a debit balance, so the balance brought down 1009 will be on the debit side. Okay, so we are clear of this. Okay, creditor, purchasers ledger control account means creditor control account. Creditors are people whom we owe money to. We owe them the money. Okay, so we owe them. Okay, so creditor is a credit balance in the balance sheet. So I must think that creditor is a credit balance. So that means anything. So creditor are people whom we owe them the money. We owe money to them. Okay, so anything that make me owe them more money will be on the credit side. Okay, anything that make me owe them more money will be on the credit side. Anything that make me owe them less money will be on the debit side. Okay, so this one, provision for doubtful debt sales for October, this one has nothing to do with creditors. Okay, this one is debtors. Okay, purchases for October, cash purchases. Okay, just now we remember in part 1 that anything cash receive or payment will be put in the cash book. Okay, so if we buy from them and we pay cash, they will never our creditor before. That means that we never owe them any money before from day one. So we won't put them in our creditors ledger or creditors control account. So this one we can forget it from our creditors control account. Okay, purchases for October, credit purchases. Okay, so that means we buy from them on credit. Okay, if we buy from them on credit, we will owe them more money, so we put on the credit side. So this one credit, this one is purchases, so I put bracket credit purchases for October, this figure. Okay, discount allowed, that means we give people discount. We don't give our supplier discount, so this has nothing to do with creditors control account. Okay, discount received, that means our creditors or our supplier give us discount. If our supplier give us discount, we will owe them less money, so we put on this side, discount received 1001. Okay, cash received from debtor, nothing to do with creditor control account, that is debtor. Cash paid to creditors, so okay, so if we pay them cash, okay, so the other account will be cash, we will owe them less money, so put on the debit side of the creditors control account. Then this one, bad debt written off, this has nothing to do with the creditors control account. Bad debt, that means those people owe us money, that is belong to the debtor control account. Dishonored check, that means people give us the check, and people give us the check and the check bounced. Okay, So that is our debtor who gave us the check. So this has nothing to do with creditors. So we don't put in the creditors control account. Goods returned to credit supplier 1003. Okay, so this is a purchase return. Okay, purchase return we put on the debit side, because if we return them the goods, we will owe them less money. Okay. Okay, so goods returned by credit customer. Customer is in the debtors control account, not here. Cash received for bad debt previously written off, that is also belongs to the debtors control account. Balance in the sales ledger offsets against purchasers ledger. Okay, what is this? What is the meaning of this? Balance in sales ledger. Balance in debtors ledger offset against purchasers ledger. Okay, so that means now you should imagine practically. Okay, I sell nasi lemak, you sell char kway teow. Okay, so I buy your char kway teow $3, you buy my nasi lemak $5. So instead of I pay you $3, you pay me $5, why don't we offset that smaller amount, offset that $3, end up you just pay me $2. Okay, so that means that $3 is contra. Okay, so that means okay, you sell nasi char kway teow, and then I sell nasi lemak. You eat my nasi lemak $5, I eat your char kway teow $3. So the $3 offset. Okay, so you just pay me $2. Okay, so that's delete off the one that you owe me and I owe you. So that means in the creditors ledger, we just offset this amount. Okay, balance offset. So we offset this 3003. That means make our creditors smaller, and also make our debtors control account smaller. Also make both creditor and debtor control account smaller. Okay, so this one sales ledger. So the other account will be sales ledger. I put bracket contra 3000, sales or debtors ledger. Okay, bracket contra this 3003 put on the debit side, because we want to make the creditor balance smaller. Okay, so this is purchasers ledger balance on 31 October 2003 debit balance. So that means we are given the information that all those odd creditors, that means those creditors whom we have overpaid at the end of the month, is 2002. Okay, so just now I explained that the balance brought down is always on the correct side one. That means the balance brought down is always like same side with the balance sheet one. Okay, so the balance carried down will be on the opposite side. So this is a debit balance at the end of the month. So the balance carried down we put here, because the balance brought down has to be on the correct side. So the balance brought down at 31 October 2003 is 2002. So that the balance brought down is on the correct side. Debit balance. So the balance brought down is a debit balance 2002. Okay, so then we have put in all the figures. So the balance carried down will be the balancing figure. So that means here we total up this side first. Okay, then we put the same figure. This one minus all this will be 22,800. Okay, so this is the balance carried down at 31 October 2003. So we put over here. Okay, so this account means at the beginning of the year, okay, we owe the suppliers, all the suppliers so much, then we buy from them so much, and then we paid them so much. Okay, so these are this one is the negative of this, so we put here. So then we paid them so much, we get discount so much, we return so much, and this is contra. At the end of the day, this one minus all this will be what we still owe them. Okay, so this is what it means. State 2 reason for using control account. So if we remember the previous lesson, okay, in part 1 of the video, okay, what are the reasons, what are the advantage or reasons for preparing control account? So you can look at the video. It is to help to detect fraud and error, not to overload the general ledger with too many individual debtors or creditors account. So if your company is very small, you only have 3 debtors and 2 creditors, you can put the 3 debtors and 2 creditors in the general ledger. But if your company got 300 debtors and 200 creditors, then that will overload the general ledger if you put all the individual debtors and creditors account in the general ledger. Okay, and to obtain figures quickly for preparation of final accounts. What I would like to add here is, for very small company, it may not be necessary to do a debtor or creditor control account. You just put all the individual debtors and creditors in the general ledger. Maybe you just have 2 debtors and 3 creditors. So just put the 2 debtors and 3 creditors in the general ledger. You don't need to have a control account, also can. Okay, so these are all the advantages of control account. Okay, so you can name any of these. So what I do is okay, 2 reasons. So one of the reasons I said, to obtain debtors and creditors figure quickly for preparation of final accounts. To prevent fraud and error, as control account serves as a periodic check against the total of individual ledger balances. So this is what I explained in part 1 before. Okay, so then now this is O-level 2003 paper 2 question 4. Okay, so O-level students, you can get all the 10-year series. It usually comes with answer, and then you practice diligently, okay, that in order to improve. Okay, so this question say Paul Short supply the following information relating to his credit purchases for the month of June 2013. Okay, name of supplier. So balance on 1 June 2013. Credit purchases return, and then this is bank payment to supplier, discount received. Okay. State 2 sources of information for creditor control account. So as I have explained in part 1 of lesson 3, okay, so we get the information for doing the control account from the book of prime entry. Remember this one? Book of prime entry. Okay, so what are the sources of information for control account? You can get it from the cash book and any of these. Okay, so 2 sources of information for creditors control account would be cash book, purchases journal, purchases return journal, even also general journal. So I have put any 2. Prepare Paul Short creditors control account for June 2013 and bring down the balances on 1 July 2013. Okay, so the new syllabus for O-level says that your account can be in T account format or can be in columnar form. So I'm more comfortable in doing T account format. That's why I do it in T account format. That is allowed according to the syllabus, the latest new syllabus guide, syllabus 7175 for O-level. Okay, so I will do up the structure for creditors control account. So this is 2013. I label it and I put a $ here. I don't panic. I just do it step by step. I don't jump the step. Okay. So this is balance on 1 June 2013. Okay, so that means you should use your calculator. Okay. And calculate all these 480642. So you use your calculator to calculate 480 plus 642 plus 327 plus 500. Okay. And also additional information over here. Short purchase goods on credit 480 on 7 June. Okay, from R Singh, and the transaction was not recorded in the books. Short sold goods on credit. So So if you total up this one balance on 1 June, you get 1949. Okay, so you get here 1949. Okay, then purchases, credit purchases. So can you total up all this also? Use your calculator. Okay, plus 208 plus 793 plus 630. That will give you 2521. Okay, and so just now we have explained creditors control account is a credit nature. So this side is debit, this side is credit. Okay, so creditor is a credit balance in the balance sheet. So the balance brought down will be on the correct side one. Will be same side with the balance sheet. So the balance brought down on 1 June at the beginning of the month is the total of this, which is 1949, is on the credit side. Okay, the balance brought down is always on the correct side one. So if I buy from my supplier on credit, I will owe them more money. So anything that make me owe them more money will be on the credit side. So credit purchases will be on the credit side. So when I add up all these credit purchases, I get 2521. And then additional information here says that, okay, so I imagine I am Paul Short. So because this is a Paul Short business, okay, so Paul Short, so short means Paul Short. Okay, short purchase goods on credit 480 on 7 June from R Singh. So R Singh is the supplier. Okay, this transaction was not recorded over here, was not recorded in the books here. Okay, so purchases were at 480, so I get 3001. Okay, so then short sold goods on credit 300 to M West on 23rd June. M West agreed to set off this amount owed by short. So we have explained what is this offset. That means, you know, you sell char kway teow, I sell nasi lemak. So I eat your char kway teow $3, you eat my nasi lemak $5. So that $3 offset. Okay, so that means we will put on the minus side. So that means on this one is the debit side of the account. So debit, so creditor is a credit nature. So anything that make me owe them, creditor, that means I owe them. So anything that make me owe them less money, I will put on the debit side. So if it's offset or contra, so the other account will be debtors control account, I will put on this debit side, this 300. So purchases return, this adds up to 210. So purchases return, so if I return them the goods, I'll owe them less money. So put here purchases return. Okay, so then this one, bank payment to supplier. So that means, this one means I pay the supplier. Okay, I pay the creditors. So if you add up all these, you will get 2740. So you can use your calculator now to try. Plus 988 plus 480. So all this adds up to 2740. So if I pay them the money, I will owe them less money. So put on the debit side. Discount received. So if my supplier, my creditor give me discount, I will owe them less money. So that's why I will put on the, so when I add up all this, I will get 130. So I put on the debit side here. This is discount received. Then, okay, then I will see which side bigger. Okay, so I find that this figure is bigger. Then I put the same number over here. 4950. I minus this, minus this, minus this, minus this. I will get my balance carried down. So that means at the beginning of the month, I owe my creditor 1949. Then during the month, I buy from them on credit, totaling 3001. Okay, then some of it I offset with my creditors 300 plus I returned some good 210, and I paid them 2740 plus they give me discount 130. That will mathematically come to a conclusion that at the end of the month I owe them 1570. So this is what the key account means. So the balance carried down will be carried down to the next month. Okay, so the balance, this is the ending balance for this month. That means at the end of this month I owe them so much. So that means at the beginning of next month, 1st July, I owe them so much. Okay, explain the meaning of the balance on the creditor account on 1 July 2013. So exactly this is what I just told you. This is the total amount owed to suppliers on 1 July 2013. I just used in simple English from what I understand of this. Okay, give one example of how creditor control account may aid management. Okay, so this is similar with the question just now. Okay, so I just named just one of the advantage. It provides total creditors figure quickly for preparation of final accounts. Okay, you can also say not to overload the general ledger with too many individual creditor account. Okay, so then now we come to this one. This question came out in 2011, paper 1, question 1. Okay, so this one, okay, the sales ledger control account for Mr. Yi show a balance of 9,700. Okay, A says prepare the sales ledger control account and show the correct balance at the year end. Okay, so now without thinking too much, I read into what the question wants. Prepare the sales ledger control account. So that means prepare the debtors control account and show the correct balance at the year end. So I just put here A, and I draw the line, and I write here sales ledger control account, and then I put here dollar sign. Okay. Okay, so then here says, on checking the books, the following discrepancy were discovered. I get a bit scared and confused now. So I'm going to read question. So question A, I just do up the structure first because I'm a bit panicked. So part B, I will read. Calculate the total of the balance in the sales ledger before any adjustment have been made in respect, okay, of the above. Okay, so I will leave some space, then I will just put here part B. Then now I think, okay, so you see now they said that a sales invoice to customer 300 had only been entered in the customer account. A contra entry of 480 have been correctly entered in the purchasers ledger control account and suppliers account. However, the item had only been entered in the sales ledger control account and not the debtors account. A receipt 2,000 for Mr. Wong, a debtor, had been recorded as a sale in Mr. Wong's account. It had been entered correctly in the sales ledger control account. Okay, so this one I have to make you refresh on here again. Okay, so remember in part 1 I have told you that in the accounts department the boss will hire 3 person. I mean ideally 3 person or 3 set of people. Okay, or 3 team of people. 1 person will take care of the debtors ledger, 1 person will take care of the creditors ledger, and 1 person will take care of the general ledger, which consists of the control account. So that means this question, so that means in part 1 of the video I have explained that how person number 1 obtained a figure from the book of prime entry. He obtained line by line from the book of prime entry, whereas the person doing the control account will just flip to the last page and drag the grand total of the book of prime entry. Okay, if it's a cash book, it will total up all the receipt from debtors and all these things. Okay, so that means this question is asking me all these things is whose fault. Okay, so now I'm very clear that I'm doing this debtors control account. Sales ledger control account means debtors control account. Okay, I know that okay, so now without thinking too much, the sales ledger control account of Mr. Yi show a balance of 9700. So now it says prepare a sales ledger control account and show the correct balance at the year end. So why do I do what is easy first? I just do what is easy first. So the balance brought down. Okay, so this one is debtors control account. Debtors is a debit balance in the balance sheet. So the balance brought down will be on the debit side, will be same side with the balance sheet one, will be on the correct. The balance brought down is always on the correct side one. So the balance brought down is 9,007. So I'm not wrong. Sales ledger control account show a balance of 9,007. So I put here balance brought down first. So that means out of all these mistakes, which mistake is concerning the person doing the control account? That means the person handling the general ledger. So in this, according to here, is person number 3 is handling the general ledger with the control account. Okay. So the person number 1 will be doing the individual debtors ledger. Person number 3 will be doing the control account. Okay, a sales invoice to a customer for 300 had only been entered in the customer's account. So that means it has only been entered in the customer account. So it had only been entered in the customer account. So that means it had not been entered in the book of prime entry. It has not been entered in the book of prime entry, sales journal, sales table. Okay, so if it had not been entered in the book of prime entry, but it has only been entered in the individual customer account, so that means the person doing the control account, he will flip to the last page of the sales day book or sales journal to find out what is the total. He will flip to the last page of the sales day book or sales journal to find out what is the total credit sales. Okay, so that means the person doing the control account would have missed out this entry. So so now I have to correct the control account. So add 300 here. Okay, here number 2. A contra entry 480 had been correctly entered in the purchasers ledger control account and suppliers account. However, the item had only been entered in the sales ledger control account and not the debtors. This is singular. That means the individual debtors account. So that means person number 3 doing the control account is correct. So I don't need to, this one I don't need to correct the control account. Then number 3, a receipt 2,000 from Mr. Wong, a debtor, has been recorded as a sale in Mr. Wong's account. It has been entered correctly in the sales ledger control account. So for this one, number 2 and number 3, I don't need to correct the sales ledger control account. So I just finish off here. So balance brought down 970 plus 300. So this is 10,000. Put the 10,000 here. So this will be my balance carried down 10,000. Okay, imagine if all the mistakes are corrected. If all the mistakes are corrected in regards to debtors, person number 1 total balance for person number 1 and the total debtors total balance in the debtors control account will be the same. If there's no mistakes, or if all the mistakes are corrected, person number 1 will give the same total of all the debtors balances, of all the debtors balance, and will give the same figure as person number 3 in the control account. Okay, so that means the corrected balance of the sales ledger control account will be the same as the corrected balance as the sales. Okay, so this is the corrected balance as the sales ledger control account. Okay, so if everything is correct, okay, the person number 1 doing the individual debtors account would have this figure as well. Okay, so now the question is asking, calculate the total of the balances in the sales ledger, total of the person number 1 balance, before any adjustment has been made in respect of this. Okay, so you see number 1 has nothing to do with the person doing the individual debtors ledger. Okay, has been entered in the customer account, has only been entered. So person number 1 is correct. Okay, so that means if I'm confused, I can put here corrected balance as per sales ledger control account. So I can leave some space, and then I can leave maybe the whole page if I'm scared that I don't have enough space. Then after that, I put this line, total sales ledger balance before adjustment. Then I draw these two lines. Okay, then only I fill up in between. A contra entry of 480 had been correctly entered in the purchasers ledger control account and suppliers account. However, the item had only been entered in the sales ledger account and not the debtors account. So that means the person number one, the person doing the individual debtors ledger, have not offsetted this 480, have not reduced the reduced from his balances of all the debtors. Okay, it is 480. So that means the figure before correction would have been bigger. Okay, because the corrected sales ledger total balance is 10,000, same as the corrected sales ledger control account balance. Okay, so before correction, the figure would have been bigger by 480. So I put an add ... Okay, contra entry not recorded in debtors account. Okay, 480. Okay, because before correction, before adjustment, the figure would have been bigger. Okay, a receipt 2,000 from Mr. Wong, a debtor, had been recorded. So this one they should minus from the total of the debtors balance. But instead of minus, he recorded as a sale. He recorded as a plus. Okay, it has been entered in the correctly in the sales ledger control account. So in person number one, that means this person number one, the person taking care of all the individual debtors ledger, has recorded a receipt as a sale. So he has a minus. Okay, receipt means minus. He has minus from the debtors balance instead of add. So now in order to correct this mistake, he has to add back twice, correct? So he has to add back he should have minus twice. So that means the figure before correction was bigger. Okay, because a receipt he recorded as a sale. So that means the figure before correction would have been bigger by 4,000. Okay, because it should have been minus, he go and plus. So the figure before correction was 14,480. Okay, so 2,000 times 2 is 4,000, 14,480. Give two reasons why a business may keep a sales ledger control account as well as a sales ledger. So I'm not giving the soft copy for all this. So if you want, you can copy down. If you copy down, you can remember even better. Okay, so as usual, is similar with just now. So this one help to prevent fraud and error through segregation of duties. Yeah, so this one I have explained before in part 1. Manage debtors, individual debtors, creditors account properly, as well as obtain figures quickly for the preparation of final account. Okay, this is what I've explained in part 1, but I put it in writing over here. Okay, so now this question came out in A level 2007, paper 1, question 3. The total of debtors of creditors balances extracted from the purchasers ledger, extracted from the individual purchasers ledger, okay, from the purchasers ledger of B. Bailey at 30 September 2007 were as follows. So just now I explained why is there debit and credit balance. This figure did not agree with the balances on the purchasers ledger control account. The following errors were found. Check payment. Okay, what the question was. Calculate the correct total of debit and credit in the purchase ledger. You should comment with the original balance at 30 September 2007. Okay, so you can do it in columnar format, or I want to do it this way. So you can do it in a different format. So calculate the correct total of debit and credit in the purchase ledger. So this is my debit okay, of the total in the purchasers ledger, and this is my credit, okay, the beginning, so now I'm going to calculate the correct. So I put the balance brought down first. This is a debit, and then this is a credit. Okay, debit, so on the debit side, the balance brought down on the debit side, then credit, the balance brought down on the credit side. So this one is, okay, then prepare the purchasers ledger control account. So actually what I do, because here I put it as compact as possible, but if in the exam, if you ask me, I'll put A, then I'll do up the structure here. I will, here, this one is what I copy here, calculation of correct total of debit and credit in the purchasers ledger. So I do up the structure here. Then I take another piece of paper, because I can space out, then I do the purchasers ledger control account for September 2007. So I put A, and then I draw up the structure, then I put B, then I draw up the structure, and I space out, because I don't want to end up not enough space. Okay, so I do up the structure first. Prepare the purchasers ledger control account showing the correction required. Okay, so this one, the balance brought down 7,001. Okay, okay, 7,001. Okay, so then now I will look at here. The following errors were found. Okay, so these are all the balances at 30 September 2007. 30 September 2007. So this is the purchasers ledger. So this one is these are the figures. This figure did not agree with the balances. These figures did not agree with the balances on the purchasers ledger control account. So that means I will draw the structure, and then I fill in, I draw a structure for part A and part B, then I try to fill in. So that means the following errors were found. So that means for all these errors, you must think, whose fault is it? Whether it's person number 2, the person taking care of the creditors ledger, or person number 3, the person taking care of the control account. So in part 1, I've explained very carefully that how each person do their work. So that means now you should identify, you should try to identify these errors belong to who. This one, so that means this one, part A is person number 2, the person taking care of the individual creditors ledger. Part B is person number 3. Okay, it's the person number 3's work, the person doing the creditors control account. So that means now I'm very clear, this is person number 2, this is person number 3. Check payment to creditors during the month total 165,100. This has been posted to the purchasers ledger control account as 161,500. Okay, so that means this one is the control accounts wrong. So the balance brought down, I can just put balance brought down at 30 September 2007. I can leave it blank first, because I don't know what is the, they said this one, this figures is different from the purchasers ledger control account. Okay, so this one balance brought down also, I just put this, and then this one leave it blank because I don't know how much. Okay, so that means this one is the person doing the control account is wrong, but the person doing the individual creditor control account, he will extract line by line. So the total is wrong. It won't affect. It won't affect. The person doing the individual creditors account. But that means the person number 2. Okay, so this has been posted to the purchasers ledger control account as 161,500. So it has been under posted. So this one, check payment to creditor will be on the debit side, because if I pay them the money, I will owe them less money. So it's on the debit side. So I have under posted. So now I post the difference. So this one, the other account will be bank. Okay, so it's under posted by 3,006. So I put here. Goods returned to supplier B dot value 550 has been recorded in the purchaser's return book. So that means has been recorded in the book of prime entry, but has been credited to B dot account. So why should you credit the purchase return to the creditor account? It's wrong, right? Because if I return the goods to the creditor, I should debit it to the creditor account, to the creditor B dot account. Because if I return the goods to them, I will owe them less money, so it should belong to the debit, not credit. So that means I put on the wrong side. So in order to correct it, so this one is the mistake of the individual creditor account. So that means here purchases returned to B dot, wrong entry, should be debit. So that means 550 times 2. So now I could put debit back twice to correct this mistake. Okay, it will be 1001. A contra entry 2002 for S. Langer account has been entered in the sales ledger account correctly, but no entry has been made in the purchases ledger. The transfer has been recorded in both control accounts. So that means the control account is correct, so you don't need to correct the control account. So you should correct the individual the individual creditor account, creditor balance, should correct the individual credit. So should put on the debit side, because contra will lesser the amount, would mean I will owe them less money. So okay, purchases, so this one is the contra. So the other account will be the debtors ledger, debtors or sales ledger account. Okay, contra entry with S. Langer 2002, so put on the debit side. Discount allowed 4510 has been credited to the debtors control account, but has also been debited to the creditors control account. Okay, discount allowed, so that means I give discount to people. So I should have given discount to my customer, right? Customer means debtor. So I give discount has nothing to do with creditors. But why I go and debit the purchases ledger control account? It's wrong, right? So in order to correct it, I credit this discount allowed. Okay, previously I wrongly debited, so now I credit. So credit is 4510. So put this side. Okay, so like what I have explained just now, if everything is correct, you know, person number 2 will have the same creditors figure as person number 3. Okay, so since over here I have filled up all the figures, the balance carried down, that means the debit balance of the creditors, debit balance in the of the creditors. So I explained what is debit balance. I presume will be the same. Okay, because they didn't mention anything that the some of this debit balance of the creditors ledger is different or something like that. So I presume it's the same. So the balance carried down will be 7001, same as the beginning balance. So the ending balance would be different. Okay, will be different. Okay, so then this is the balancing figure. So this one plus this one is 185. Then 185 minus this I get 175,000. So this is the corrected figure. The correct totals of the debit and credit of the purchases ledger will also be the corrected total of the debit and credit of the purchases ledger control account. So both person must get the same figure. So here I fill up this one, I copy back the same figure over here. So the beginning balance will also be 71. Okay, I presume will be the same. So this will be the balancing figure. Okay, so that means you total up this side first, put the same number, minus this, you will get this one. State 2 advantages of using purchases ledger control account. It's the same story just now. You can just copy the answer just now. Okay, so this is A level 2004 paper 1 question 4. You see, sometimes the question may not be very well question. There could be some missing sentence inside the question. So if in that case you can put a note to or an assumption note to clarify. Okay, so here says a business debtor figure of 38,500 was extracted from the sales ledger, from the individual sales ledger at the financial year end. The following errors were found and corrected. the balances of the sales ledger and sales ledger control account agreed. Okay, so after it has corrected the balances of the sales ledger, the person taking care of the person number 1, and the sales ledger control account agreed. Okay, so the question says a statement reconciling, okay, the total debtor figure with the corrected sales ledger control account figure. A sales ledger account showing the original balance and any adjustment. So this part of the question is not very clear. What do you mean by sales ledger account? Sales ledger account showing the original balance and any adjustment. So if it means that the total of all the individual sales ledger and any adjustment, then that means I can see that part 1 and part 2 basically is a repetition, is a repeated question. So that's why I don't think that that's what they meant. I think that I clearly think that what the question really meant is prepare a sales ledger control account. So that's why I put here number 2. No, it is assumed that the question meant prepare a sales ledger control account. Because if they meant this is the total of the individual sales ledger, original balance and any adjustment, then it will be exactly the same as part 1, and then there is a repetition. So but I don't think so. Okay, so the original debtors figure, so that means what I'm going to do, because when I look at this question I get jumbled up, I don't know where to start. Okay, so that means I put here part 1. You see, over here I make it more compact, but if you leave it to me in the exam, I will do part 1 and part 2 in 2 pieces of paper so I can space out. Okay, so I draw the title first. Statement reconciling. A statement must have a nice title. A statement reconciling total, I'm more or less copying from here. The original total figure with the corrected sales ledger control account figure, and then I underline. So this one is statement, so I put here original total debtor figure, which is 38,500. So I put the $sign 38,500. So I will leave a lot of space until the end of the page. Then I put here corrected sales ledger control account balance. Then I put here dash. Then I can put here add dot dot. Then I leave a lot of space. Then I put less dot dot. Then underline. I like to space out. And then I take another piece of paper. I write this note, and then I do the structure sales ledger control account. Draw and space out. Okay, over here I can't space out because I need to explain to you, so I compact it. But if you do, you can do it, what I suggest, space out. Okay, so now I have drawn all the structure, then I can read this carefully and I think whose fault is it? Is it the person doing the this one, number 1, is the person doing the individual debtors ledger, and this one, number 2, is the person doing the debtors control account. Okay, an amount 1,005 transferred from any account in the sales ledger to the debit of an account in the purchasers ledger had not been entered in the control account. So this one A, the person number 1 doing the individual debtors ledger, has done a good job. He has transferred this amount, and so I don't need to correct the person number 1's figure. Okay, so but it has not been entered in the correct control account. So this one, debtors control account. Debtors is a debit balance in the balance sheet. So the balance, so I can just put here balance brought down. I don't know how much, I leave it blank. Okay, I just put here balance brought down and I leave it blank. Okay, so then this one I know. So if it's a contra offset, okay, transferred from Amy's account in the sales ledger to the debit of an account in the purchasers ledger. So that means Amy is a debtor as well as a creditor. Yeah, it's true. Some people can be your debtor as well as a creditor, can be your supplier as well as your customer. Okay, so for example, my contractor come and renovate my house. Then so my contractor is my supplier. Okay, maybe some of the work is on credit, so he will be my creditor. And at the same time, I give tuition to his son or daughter. So So he is also my customer, okay? For example, it's also on credit, so he's also my customer, and that means he's also my debtor. So some of the amount owing from me and at 2 and 4 will be offset, okay? So that means, for example, Emmy is my contractor as well. So Emmy is my customer as well as my supplier. So 1,005 would be offset. Okay, it has not been entered in a control account. So this one is a debtors control account. So if it's offset, that means makes my that will make my debtor figure. That means that will make her owe me less money. So will be on the credit side. Okay, so the other account will be purchasers ledger control account, contra. Okay, 1,005 put on the credit side of your debtors control account. So that means make the debtors figure smaller. Okay, a check for 710 received from Brian was dishonored, that means bounce check. It has not posted from the cash book to Brian's account. Okay, so that means person number 1 did not do the individual debtors figure correctly. So it has missed out from the individual debtors figure. Okay, it was bounced, the check was bounced. Okay, received from Brian was bounced, so the check did not clear. So that means the money did not come into my bank account. So that means Brian will owe me back that 710. Previously I have already minus off from his account, but now the check bounced, so that means he owe me back. So that means it would add back to the debtor figure because he'll owe me back at Brian account bracket dishonored check. Okay, it has not been posted. So but it was inside the cash book, right? So when the person do the control account, he will take the grand total of the or he will add up from the cash book, so the control account would be correct. Okay, but person number 1, you have to correct his figure. Okay, at Brian account. C, during the year, Carol paid cash $50 on her account. This had been entered in the cash book, but no further entry has been made. So if it has been entered in the cash book, that means the control account would be correct. Okay, so the individual account would have missed out this one. No further entry, that means it was not entered in the individual debtor account. So she paid, so that means if she paid, that means that will less out from the amount owing from the debtors. Okay, less cash received from Carol, $50. Okay, a credit balance of $400 in the sales ledger has been mistaken as a debit balance. Okay, it's a credit balance in the debtors ledger has been mistaken as a debit balance. So you go and add. So sales ledger, that means the individual sales ledger. Okay, you go and add instead of minus. Okay, so now you must minus back twice. Okay, because previously you add. This one has been mistaken as a debit balance, so that means you plus, right? Because this is a debtor figure, right? So you have added to the debtor figure. So you should have minus. So now you should minus twice, right? So less 400 times 2, 800. Okay, so this one, add this one, minus this one. So corrected sales ledger control account figure is 38600. So this 38600 should also be the same figure as the corrected sales ledger control account figure. So the balance carried down is this one also. So then I work backward. That means this one add this one, I get this one. This figure, I put the same figure here. This one minus this one, I will get 39560. Okay, so I completed this question. Okay, so now A-level student or even O-level student, you can buy all the past exam question, and if you want, you can also sign up for the correspondent course for the A-level. Okay, you can copy down all these questions. You should do up all these questions, and for those who have already signed up for the correspondent course, you can send to me for marking, and I will give you all the answers after you submitted your answers for marking. Okay, so copy down all this. You can start the video again and take notes as the video run for this. Okay, so see you again. Bye.